investing in an asset allocation is a bit like building your own thali. So I think when you're a new investor or you're starting your journey, it's very important to know yourself.
Welcome back to our Wealth Insight podcast, where we continue our conversation with Radhika. Radhika, welcome back.
Thank you.
What is your investment mantra?
So I think the mantra is pretty obvious. It's right in front of us. We've had global cuisines, we've had diverse tastes, but we've managed to have this meal while keeping our portions in balance and check, isn't it?
Now, one question also which we get very often from our investors is that you have been very passionate about passive investing.
Yeah.
But how do you incorporate passive investing and active investing in your overall investment strategy?
So, in the previous episode, I talked about building core portfolios
Yes.
with different categories, whether it's large cap, mid cap, etc. There are many ways to do this. But for instance, if you were to take a mid cap category, you can incorporate one active fund and you can complement it with one passive fund. Or for instance, in more, I would say, commoditized categories where, information is very abundant, like large cap, you can pick a Nifty index fund. The other way I love to use passive is for first-time investors who just see so many categories, they're very confused.
Yeah.
You buy a simple 250 index fund which covers the top 250 companies in the market. So that's one way to incorporate simple passive instruments. There are also, an evolving space of smart beta or thematic passive. So remember we talked about the 20% of your portfolio, looking for some interesting styles there. If you have a lot of value-based funds or growth-based funds, you can pick up a momentum-based passive fund. You can pick up an interesting theme at any point, but of course, that's not for the core section of the portfolio. So the core passive funds are your market cap-based, all-weather, simple, again, dal chawal kind of funds. And then you can use some of these themes or factors to supplement what is not there in your active portfolio.
A lot of the passives which you just mentioned is a lot with equity. Does
Yes.
passives work in debt?
Oh, it absolutely works in debt. We run a very, very large debt passive business as Edelweiss, and I think they are great debt passive products. They are great products on the liquid side. The whole Bharat Bond franchise and target maturity lets you get an FD experience with passively managed fixed income. So passive works in debt, passive works in equity, passive works in gold.
Yeah. So talking about cuisines, like here we have Italian cuisine, we have Indian cuisine. In India, we have a real bias, right? We like our Indian assets. We always talk long-term story of equities. Do you think in your portfolio you need an international flavor?
I think you do. By the way, it's interesting. I grew up in multiple parts of the world,
Yes.
and you had asked me about my own food preference, and I said very clearly Indian. But I largely eat Indian food for breakfast and for lunch. And most of my dinners are continental. One, because I like the variety and somehow it's light. You can create lighter soup salad kind of meals with continental. So even in my own diet, the core is Indian, but there is an element of diversification. And I think international funds are important in investing. They're important at a stage in investing. So if you're a first-time investor, I would say wait. Get your exposure to equities, understand that asset class. But once you've got your basics in place, your equity, fixed income, you should be open to international investing for a couple of reasons. One is that India is not the only story in town. It's a great story, but it's not the only story. And there are times when the India story doesn't work, but the China story works or the US story works. The second is India is an emerging economy, and many of the themes of the future are just not represented in India. For instance, the whole streaming space, semiconductors. So you get exposure to these themes through global markets. So that's also important. The third is to the extent you're saving for expenses abroad, for instance, sending your children to study abroad, rupee depreciation is a factor you have to think about, and international investments can give you that protection. So many reasons to incorporate them, but incorporating them in the right amount at the right phase is very important.
So Radhika, we've come to the end of the main course. What did you like out of the weddings?
I love Italian food, so I really loved the risotto. I think it's asparagus risotto,
Yes.
and I'm told it's a Peruvian asparagus. I did not know that the asparagus comes from Peru, so that was really quite nice actually.
Yeah. So moving from main course, is there something still left?
Oh, we can't finish a meal without dessert. I mean, dessert is sweet and dessert is awesome. And I love dessert, and I think most people love dessert.
Yes, desserts are sweetener which you have in your portfolio. Now, talking from an investment analogy, when we talk of desserts, how do you see that, especially in the alternate space or opportunistic solution? Because that's something you are also quite passionate and you've done on your personal front.
You know, I mean, there was this Ranbir Kapoor movie where he said you can't eat dal chawal for life, right? You need a little bit of variety in life. And I think dessert is that 20% variety in the portfolio. It is ideas that could be unique, risk return profiles that could be different, access to asset classes that could be different. I think alternatives, really defines what you can do. And even within alternatives, I think in India, the options are so varied right now. There's a whole spate of private equity funds. You can do unlisted directly. Like I've been buying a lot of unlisted companies post Shark Tank in my portfolio directly.
That's also part of a lot of the growth story, right?
That's,
which you can capture.
And they're exciting entrepreneurial stories. SEBI is now introducing this class of specialized investment funds, which will give you access to hedge funds, so things that were not allowed on the mutual fund platform. So actually the landscape is becoming very vast, and I would say when you look at this dessert class of things, look for something that's different. I mean, you want in your dessert something that you didn't get in your main course. You want in your alternative investment a risk, a return, an exposure. You have all these infra products, you have private credit products. So you want exposure that your traditional basket is not giving.
So when you're talking of desserts, and as the desserts come in also, Radhika, one thing which we see also when you're talking of your portfolio is there are risks. Like in desserts, these looks really interesting. Too much of sweet is also not good. So what are the risks you should be wary of when you're doing, whether it's alternate investments or your main traditional investments?
So it's good you talk about this, because sometimes what happens is people get so excited by the exotics in life that they forget that they have risks and they need to be done in controlled proportions. And remember, throughout this podcast, I've been talking about this concept of what is a core portfolio. And this is all satellite stuff. If you're having too much of this stuff as a part of your diet, and I am digging into this yummy looking ice cream, then you have a problem. I think with alternatives, people have to realize a couple of risks. One, not all of these are liquid. So with your traditional investments, mutual funds, etc., you have T+1, T+2 liquidity. With alternatives, it's very important to check the illiquidity risk of some of them. Secondly, they're not as well understood. The risk return profiles are different. So you do hedge funds, you can have some kind of tail risk. You do a private credit fund, you can have a single large credit event or default that can lead to problems. You do a private equity company or an early stage company. Well, a lot of early stage funds and a lot of early stage companies just don't make it through. So for the higher return, you are getting some amount of risk, you are getting some amount of illiquidity. These are things that you have to study, keep in mind, and be aware. I mean, even when we do food and we look at a dessert, we do check the calorie count, or we check the calorie count and we control our portions accordingly.
Yeah. So even when we talk of desserts and take care of your calorie count, similarly in your investments, you have to take care of the risks and returns. How do you review your portfolio and how frequently should you do it?
So not every day. I mean, you don't go to your doctor or nutritionist every day. You have to give time to settle it in. I think a basic quarterly review is a nice hygiene check. It's something that everyone should do. An annual checkup, similar to the annual checkup that we do for your bodies, is a must. And I think tactical changes in your portfolio can happen annually. Different goals, market situations, little shifts in asset allocation, that can happen annually. Large structural changes like reviewing a fund that is underperforming, changes to your situation, big changes in your main asset allocation, that I think should happen every 3 to 5 years. So in my personal portfolio, I check the numbers every quarter, I make small tweaks every year, and I do a full-scale evaluation every 5 years. It's like once you turn 40, you start getting a new set of tests done versus when you were 30 versus when you were 50.
And the tweaks would be just a little rebalancing,
right?
Not large scale.
The annual tweaks are more rebalancing because your life doesn't change and your situation doesn't change annually. But every 5 years, I think your financial situation, circumstances, needs, jobs, kids, all that starts to change.
Yeah, actually that's great. Why don't we dig into the desserts?
Okay, let us eat this. This looks like some kind of deconstructed tiramisu, which is very interesting. And if you have not had this, I just had a bite of the pista ice cream.
Yeah.
It's actually quite outstanding.
Thank you, Radhika, for joining in our Wealth podcast. And we've had a full course, full discussion. How did you like the experience?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I had the best time and I really enjoyed the food.
Thank you, Radhika, again. And thank you, listeners, for tuning into our Wealth Insight podcast. Stay tuned for more.